I always thought my backyard was my sanctuary, a quiet space to relax after work, grill dinner, or just stare at the stars. But everything changed the night I noticed the figure. It was late, around 11:30 p.m., and the air was still, almost unnaturally so. I was sitting on the porch with a beer, the soft hum of crickets filling the silence, when movement caught my eye at the edge of the yard. At first, I thought it was a raccoon, or maybe a stray cat, but the shape was taller than any animal crouched just behind the bushes, completely still. My stomach sank. I froze. I called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No response, not a word. The figure didn't move. I felt my pulse quicken, the cold knot of fear growing in my stomach. I grabbed my phone, planning to call the police, but the moment I glanced through the window, the figure had shifted. Closer, its head tilted slightly, as if studying me. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it would burst. I wanted to leave, run inside, lock every door, but curiosity, or perhaps disbelief, kept me rooted to the spot I waited. Minutes passed. The figure didn't retreat, didn't make a sound, just lingered, perfectly still, observing me. I finally called the police. By the time they arrived, the figure was gone. They searched the yard, neighbors' properties, the surrounding woods, but found nothing. They suggested I'd imagined it, or maybe a passerby had slipped into the yard and left. I tried to convince myself of that, but the unease didn't go away. Then came the nights after. Every night around the same time, I'd hear soft rustling, faint footsteps along the edge of the fence. Sometimes, I'd see shadows flicker across the yard. I installed motion lights and cameras, thinking that would be enough. The first night the cameras were on, I watched the live feed from inside the house and froze. The figure was there, slowly, deliberately, moving along the fence line, stopping just long enough to look directly into the camera before disappearing into darkness. That was when I realized this wasn't random. Someone or something was watching me, learning me. My backyard, my sanctuary, had become a trap. And every night since, I've sat indoors, lights on, watching the cameras, knowing that the moment I step outside, I might not be alone. I always loved gardening. My backyard was filled with flowers, herbs, and a small vegetable patch I took pride in. One evening, I decided to plant a new row of tulips near the back fence. As I dug, my shovel struck something hard. I froze, brushing the dirt away. At first, I thought it was a rock, but the shape was rectangular, metallic, and slightly rusted. My heart started racing. I pried it open with the shovel and found a small box. Inside were photographs, faded, yellowed photographs. Some were of my house from when it was under construction, decades ago, but some were more recent. Pictures of me in my backyard, walking to the shed, watering plants, even sitting on the porch. I hadn't seen anyone in the yard, hadn't given anyone access. Panic settled in my chest. I called the police. They took the box, promised to investigate, but they found no trace of who could have left it. No fingerprints, no DNA. I tried to convince myself it was a prank, or maybe someone with old access to the property. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I heard scratching, light footsteps along the fence, soft whispers I couldn't understand. I peered through the blinds, but nothing was there. The next night, I stayed outside, flashlight in hand. I saw nothing at first, but then noticed the dirt in the spot where I had found the box was disturbed again, freshly dug, as if someone had been digging quietly, carefully, in the dead of night. My paranoia escalated. I started sleeping with every light on in the house. I installed motion sensors, extra cameras, even alarm systems. But still, the noises continued. Scratching, soft breathing, shadows moving just out of reach weeks past. Sometimes, I'd wake to find small trinkets in the yard that weren't mine. A broken doll, a single shoe, even a watch. All of them appeared near the edge of the fence, like warnings I stopped gardening altogether. My backyard, once a place of peace, had become a place of dread, and every time I walk past that spot where the box was buried, I feel eyes on me, waiting. I know whoever, or whatever, left the box isn't finished. My backyard has a simple wooden fence with a gate that creaks whenever it moves. I've always thought the noise came from wind or the natural settling of the wood that changed one morning. I woke to find the gate wide open. I lock it every night. I live alone. I checked the locks, windows, everything, nothing was broken. I shrugged it off, thinking I must have forgotten, but the next morning, it was open again. And the night after that, I started staying awake, watching from my bedroom window. Around midnight, without fail, the gate would creak open. No one ever entered. No footprints in the yard. Nothing disturbed, except the gate. I stayed out with a flashlight one night, trying to catch whoever was doing it. Hours passed. Nothing. Then, just as I was about to give up, the gate slowly swung open, wider than usual, stopping just short of the fence post. My stomach churned. I wasn't imagining it. Something, or someone, was doing this deliberately. Then came the breathing. Low, deliberate, almost measured. Coming from just beyond the fence, I shined the flashlight. But the yard was empty. The night was still, except for that sound, like someone standing just outside the edge of the light, waiting. I didn't sleep that night. I called a friend the next day, and he helped me check the yard. Nothing. No footprints, no disturbed soil, no evidence anyone had been there. But the gate continued to open itself, night after night. Weeks later, I noticed something worse. Small handprints on the outside of the gate, faint but visible in the morning dew. They weren't adult-sized, child-sized. I've never had children. I installed security cameras, hoping to finally get proof of what was happening. That night, I watched the feed from inside. The gate swung open by itself, and standing in the corner of the yard, just barely visible, was the faint silhouette of a small figure, motionless, watching, waiting. And I knew, with a sinking feeling in my chest, that my backyard had become a place I could never truly be safe in again. And that's where I'll leave it tonight. These aren't just stories. They're reminders that sometimes the scariest things aren't monsters hiding in the dark, but the quiet, unnoticed corners of the world we think are safe. Your backyard, your home, even your own street. They can all hold secrets that watch and wait. So the next time you hear a rustle in the bushes, a creak in the fence, or footsteps when no one should be there, don't ignore it. Trust your instincts, lock your doors, and maybe, just maybe, don't go outside alone, because you never know who or what might be waiting, silently, just beyond your sight. Sleep tight, if you can.